If you have bad credit or a fair credit, you definitely want to refinance your car loan. This is very important. I don't care how low you think your APR is. If you have bad credit or fair credit, you better think about refinancing your car loan right now. And in today's conversation, I want to compare and contrast Capital One, RateGenius, LendingClub, and RefiJet. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Q Show. How are you today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you ever ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's convo, I want to talk to you about the best auto loan refinancing for bad credit. And we are going to speak about Capital One, RateGenius, LendingClub, and RefiJet. Now, as I said earlier, it's important. I don't care how low you believe your rate is. If you have bad credit or fair credit, chances are the lender has charged you more than they would charge the average borrower. So it's very important to understand that you got to constantly look at two things. What is how can you refinance your car loan, your existing car loan, and how much do you have to pay? What is the opportunity cost there, right? So if you go from a loan that charges you, say, 8% to a loan that charges you 7%, is the 1% delta, is the 1% difference really significant when you think about closing costs and other costs, right? And you sometimes have hidden fees also. You also need to think about the fact that you might be struggling to make your auto loan payments, or you want to take advantage of lower interest rates. So there is a large constellation of reasons why, as a bad credit borrower or a fair credit borrower, you want to constantly think about refinancing. And the question we've heard during our research is, can you refinance your car loan when you have bad credit? You betcha. You definitely can. It is possible. And the four players I want to talk to you today about: Capital One, RateGenius, LendingClub, and RefiJet, they specifically cater to folks who have a poor credit and bad credit. Now, it doesn't mean that their APRs are higher. It just means that they have specialized in that niche, if you will. Okay. But before you actually contact Capital One, RateGenius, LendingClub, or RefiJet, I want you to do me a favor. There are a few things I want you to do. I want you to do three important things. First, I want you to check your credit reports and credit scores. It's very important because guess what? You might be having an issue on your credit report that you were not even aware of. You know, we've heard a lot of people, we've heard hundreds of folks who had bad credit, but when you start digging into the credit report, you realize there was a mistake, you realize there was something going on, and they were able to successfully dispute that little issue, and they were able to raise their credit score by, say, 100 or 200 points. So it's important to check your credit reports and score. Very important. Do not minimize that. And you also want to reach out to the lender. So if you are before you actually reach out to another lender to refinance, you want to contact the one that you're currently with. You want to ask them, you want to give them a chance, if you will, to make you a new proposition, to make you a new loan proposition. Another thing you want to do when it comes to refinancing is when it comes to actually thinking about the refinance decision, you want to shop around to find the best options, right? So in addition to Capital One, RateGenius, LendingClub, and RefiJet, which we are reviewing in today's show, there are other lenders to consider when refinance your car loan with bad credit or fair credit, for that matter. And I'm going to quickly show you some of the other players that we have actually reviewed on this show. So here are some of the best lenders in our view to refinance your car loan when you have bad credit and you don't qualify or you don't want to apply with Capital One, RateGenius, LendingClub, or RefiJet. So you have Auto Credit Express. This is a lending platform that connects people with a network of lenders. So this is not a direct lender. This is a loan matchmaking spot, right? And they offer auto financing to people with poor credit or fair credit. You also have New Roads. So New Roads considers the applications from people with a bankruptcy, charge-off, or repossession on their credit reports. So to refinance with new rules, you must have made at least 12 monthly payments on your current auto loan, and your current loan balance can't be more than 120% of your car's wholesale value. And then you have Trestle, and we love Trestle really because they're not a direct lender, but they're able to quickly see if they'll quickly pre-qualify you, which is important when you're looking for auto refinance. And they also have a wide lender network. Okay, and Trestle was formerly called Innovative Funding Services, so they have rebranded. Great company, great company. So before I get into the actual review here, please check out our short loan evaluation approach. We do have a rigorous approach on this show when it comes to reviewing, categorizing, and listing all types of loans, including auto loans for refinancing, bad credit borrowers, or bad credit loan arrangements. Check this out. All right, folks, let's first talk about Capital One Auto Finance. When it comes to refinancing an auto loan for bad credit, let's just talk about, one thing that's for sure is that Capital One is great because the pre-qualification process and the car shopping process are made easy. Okay, and a Capital One auto refinance loan might be ideal if you're shopping around and you want to see what kind of loan offer you might qualify for without having your credit take a hit, right? If you don't want a hard pull, you want to go to Capital One. They do have the pre-qual feature on their website. That's fantastic. One thing you also need to pay attention though is that if you ultimately choose to stick with the Capital One auto refinance or auto finance loan, you will be limiting yourself because they only allow you to buy from their network of participating dealerships. So something you just need to know. What are the pros and cons? So pros, you can apply for pre-qualification with no hard credit inquiry. You can search for vehicles online with, they have a tool on their website called the Auto Navigator tool. Okay. What about the cons? So you must shop, as I just said, at participating dealers. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't even try. Okay. And one thing we don't like with Capital One is that you will never know the final loan terms until you apply. So you will never know clearly how much they're going to charge you, the APR, the closing fees, so on and so forth. You got to actually risk yourself. You got to have a skin in the game before they reveal stuff to you, if you will, And there is a minimum monthly income required depending on your credit. And when it comes to auto financing or refinancing, with Capital One, you have three types. So they offer new car loans, used car loans, and auto refinance. So in addition to auto refinance, they also have, you can actually buy a new car or used car through Capital One. And so what I was saying earlier in terms of looking into the participating dealerships, this can be a problem. Imagine you want a car and they're telling you, hey, listen, you only need to buy within our network. If none of their dealers has the car you want, you are toast, right? So this is the limiting factor that we have seen. Or even worse, let's say you found a car and the car is available, but the car is available 1,000 miles away from home. In other words, you live in California and the car is available at a participating dealer in New York. Think about that, right? Not a good position to be in. Let me take a closer look at Capital One auto loans. So when we speak about Capital One auto loans for finance or refinancing, there are a couple of things you need to remember. First, the loans are not available in Hawaii or Alaska. So this is not only a peculiarity, if you will, a peculiarity of Capital One. Other car players, for example, CarMax or Drive Time, those players in the online used car or new car industry, they do not serve Hawaii or Alaska. I guess it's just costly. It's just too costly. And one thing you also need to remember with the Capital One auto refinancing loans, depending on your credit, you need to have a minimum monthly income of $1,500 to $1,800. And you may be required in some cases to make a down payment, even if we're talking about a refinancing arrangement, okay? And the minimum new or used car loan amounts for refinancing can be sometimes around 5,000, 6,000, or 7,000. And they also have, for them to refinance your car, you better make sure that the car is no more than 10 model years old, and that the car has fewer than 120,000 miles. Okay, and in some cases, based on conversation we have had with Capital One, they want, for a refinance, they want the vehicle to be no more than 7 years old. Okay, and one thing you also need to understand here is that you cannot use a Capital One auto finance loan to buy or refinance certain car brands or vehicle types, including Oldsmobile, Daewoo, Saab, Suzuki, and Isuzu vehicles, as well as commercial vehicles, motorcycles, or RVs. We've seen this, but in some places like Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, they allowed that. So I think this is one of those things where you have to contact Capital One directly and ask them about their specific criteria. And one thing to apply to a Capital One auto refinance or refinance, you just need to you gotta go to the website. Okay, you need to plan to use the car for personal use only. We're not speaking here about commercial vehicles. Okay, you also must be at least 18 years old and have a valid street address, and you also need to have a phone number, very important. And before you submit your final loan application, it's always a great idea to check your credit and compare other loan offers. That way you don't end up paying more. I want to speak to you now about RateGenius. Let's see if this company is indeed a genius when it comes to auto refinancing. All right, so RateGenius. The thing with RateGenius is that they are very good at, first of all, the platform is fantastic. Their interface is great. The application takes just minutes to complete, and they works with more than 150 lenders nationwide. So you understand this is not a direct lender. This is a loan matchmaking platform, and they handle auto refinance process from start to finish. So even though they're not a direct lender, I want you to think of RateGenius as a servicer. In other words, they take care of everything. They are the middleman. Between you, the borrower who wants to refinance his or her loan, and the lender. And in terms of the drawbacks here, minimum balance to refinance $10,000. So if you have a car that is worth less than that, you want to look elsewhere. And RateGenius also, they offer only refinance and lease buyout loans. Okay, and so let me dig a little deeper here. One thing I want to say here is that their application process is indeed quick. It's really quick. You can do it over the phone, or if you have a computer or laptop or a tablet, you can just do it online. Okay, so once your application is submitted, what happens in the background is that RateGenius, their algorithm, will try to match you with lenders in their network that offer auto refinance loans with the best interest rates you might qualify for. And the cool thing here is that if you are approved, you will get an offer and you may be able to begin the refinancing process in as little as 24 hours. Pretty cool, right? And they do have a large lender network. As I said, they are an online agency, not a lender. And the fact that they have so many lenders, like 150 lending partners, that's fantastic. And the reason why we love RateGenius is that most of their lending partners are credit unions. So that means what? It means that the loans that you're going to get from RateGenius are going to be relatively cheaper than refinancing loans for bad credit you might get at traditional lenders. And we love the fact also is that, it's not that we love the fact, I just want to specify that they only take care of refinance and buyouts only. Okay, so they only do auto refinance and lease buyout loans. Let's take a closer look at RateGenius's auto loans for a refinancing. You have to remember that unlike Capital One Auto Finance, with RateGenius, they cover the whole United States. So even if you are in Alaska or Hawaii, You might qualify for an auto loan refinancing, no problem. You cannot use the car for business purposes. It has to be for personal use. The car has to be less than 10 years old, and the car must have fewer than 120,000 miles to be eligible. In other words, less than 10,000 miles per month. And RateGenius doesn't charge a refinance fee. But remember that the lender that you select or your DMV may actually charge fees depending on your loan and states. Okay? One thing for sure, you should be notified if there are any fees. As I said earlier at the beginning of today's conversation, it's important to understand that before you actually engage in refinance transaction, that the opportunity cost is in your favor, right? So the old APR versus the new APR. And we also love the fact that RateGenius actually they offer vehicle service contracts to cover the cost of maintenance and repairs. And they're not the only one doing that. I mean, CarMax does it, Drive Time does it. You have other players. Carvana does it as well with their Carvana Care, right? And you also need to know that when you have RateGenius, when you have a loan through RateGenius, you have something called a GAP, so the guaranteed asset protection. Those waivers can be purchased to protect your wallet if your refinance car is ever totaled and the auto loan amount is higher than the car's value. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's all about what's important for you. So if you're looking to refinance your car loan, RateGenius could be an option for you, especially considering that the lenders it connects with consider a number of factors in their decisions. And even better, they are mostly credit unions. Okay, that's wonderful. So even if you have bad credit, low credit, fair credit, you may still find a great lender for you. So just make sure, as long as your car is less than 10 years old and has fewer than 120,000 miles on it, and you're using it for personal use, fantastic. And one thing I need to also say is that your current auto loan must be between $10,000 and $55,000. Okay, you should be fine that. So before applying, make sure you have the following handy: the loan information, in other words, the name of the lender and current monthly payments, the vehicle information. So we're speaking about the VIN, the make, model, style of vehicle, current mileage, and the contact information, so the mailing address, email address, and phone number. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Security Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation about the best auto loan refinancing for bad credit. Capital One versus RateGenius versus LendingClub versus RefiJet. Let's quickly talk now about LendingClub, one of our favorites here. And with LendingClub, you have the ability to pre-qualify for auto loan refinancing for bad credit, for fair credit, or for low credit. And they actually, what we love is that this lender, LendingClub, they offer competitive starting interest rates to borrowers with what the company considers to be excellent or fair or good or bad credit. In other words, they really offer the same benefits to all kinds of borrowers depending on the solidity of, not solidity, let's just say depending on their credit score, but also depending on the car they are refinancing. What are the pros and cons of LendingClub? The pre-qualification is available, no origination fee or prepayment penalty. The cons: you must have a current loan open, a current auto loan open for at least 1 month, with at least 24 months of remaining payments, and to pay attention to sometimes the vehicle age, use, and mileage, and they do have restrictions on those. And LendingClub is not available in all 50 states. Okay, now let me talk a little bit more about that, because obviously, if you have bad credit or a fair credit, you want to reduce. Even if you have excellent credit, you might want to reduce your current monthly car payments or lower the interest rates on your auto loan. That makes sense. And in that case, LendingClub is a great player to consider when it comes to auto refinancing. And actually, they're not a direct lender. Okay, LendingClub is an online marketplace. So what they do is they actually can connect you with investors who back loans. And the lender offers a range of lending options that include auto refinancing, personal loans, small business loans, and K-12 education loans. Okay, And one thing I want to say here is that if you're shopping for a new or used car and want to take out a loan, you'll need to look for financing elsewhere. For example, you can go to Carvana, you can go to Capital One Auto Finance, for example, okay? And you can try CarMax, for example. You can try Drive Time. There are a lot of players out there, okay? And we love the fact that there is no origination fee or prepayment penalty. That's pretty good. And they do have some restrictions for the vehicle age and mileage. So you want to make sure you have a loan balance, a current loan balance between 5,000 and 55,000. You also need to have at least 24 months of remaining payments on your car loan, and your loan must have been initiated at least 1 month ago. Okay, and the Lending Club will only consider refinancing vehicles that are 10 years old or newer and that have fewer than 120,000 miles. Another thing I want to really say here is that when we speak about Lending Club and we speak about their the auto loan refinancing program, let's just say that they will offer you, they will make an offer within minutes if you qualify. Yeah, and the cool thing we also love here is that they do allow co-borrowers. So Lending Club, they allow you to add a co-borrower to an application. In some cases, a co-borrower could help you qualify for better terms. They do have state restrictions. So auto refinancing is not available to borrowers in every state. So you want to make sure to check if it's available in your state before taking the time to apply, right? And we know from example that from experience that it's kind of hard for them to refinance or finance auto loans in Alaska and Hawaii. But you also want to pay attention to the loan amount. So the payoff amount on your current auto loan needs to be between 5,000 and 55,000. But based on our research in Arizona, the loan amount ranges from 5,000 to 50,000. And in Kentucky, the loan amount ranges from 15,000 to 55,000. Okay, and you also want to pay attention to the existing loan. So for your current auto loan to qualify for refinancing through Lending Club, it must have at least 24 months of remaining payments. And that kind of makes sense. And it's not just Lending Club that has this kind of restrictions. All auto loan refinancing lenders, they do that. Why? Because they're trying to get some juice out of the loan. They're just trying to make some cash also, to make some profits. Because if the loan is nearly paid off, how are they going to make money off of you? All right, so that kind of makes sense. And you also, we love the fact that with Lending Club, you can have competitive starting interest rates. All right, they haven't been, they're very mum, they're very discreet about their loan, their APRs and that kind of stuff. But based on our research and based on our investigation of customer feedback on websites such as Trustpilot and Triple B, we were able to find that Lending Club does have interesting rates. Just make sure when you apply, even if you have a bad credit score, that you're able to either have a co-signer or a co-borrower, right? You can also try to maintain a low debt-to-income ratio so that you can increase your chances of being approved. I want to talk to you now about the four lender in today's conversation. We have RefiJet. So with RefiJet, you really what really struck us on the positive side during our research is the fact that you get one-on-one support throughout the refinance process. In other words, you have a lender who is really next to you, that they work with you. They will we love the hand-holding process. And basically, RefiJet offers auto refinancing through its network of lenders. So RefiJet is similar to Lending Club or RateGenius in the sense that they are not a direct lender. So in today's conversation, out of the four players that I'm just reviewing right now, only Capital One Auto Finance is a direct lender. The other three are loan marketplaces. In other words, they have a network of lenders, and they actually pitch so when you apply through them, they just redirect the loan application to the network of lenders, and those lenders have to bid. They have to make offers, and you have to actually approve one of those offers. And what we love is that RefiJet considers people with a range of credit histories, okay, and they do have personalized support throughout the refinance process, and they have a range of refinance loan options. What about the cons? There is no option to apply online, like not all the time, and you need to have a positive payment history and proof of income to apply, and older vehicles are not eligible for refinancing. And what I want to say here is that with RefiJet, you have three types of refinance options. So you have traditional auto loan refinancing. In other words, you can lower your interest, you can lower your loan payments or interest rates. They do have something called cash out refinance loans. So you can increase the size of your loan, allowing you to get some cash back. Or they have also lease buyout loans. And this is where you finance a car you have leased. Okay. And we love the fact that they will consider you no matter your credit. You have bad credit, low credit, no credit, doesn't really matter. And it's important to know that you will be assisted throughout the process. In other words, RefiJet will assign to you a financial service representative who will help you with things like gathering your personal information and submitting your pre-qualification application to increase your chances of approval, right? And that representative will also help you understand different loan options. And the cool thing here is that if you pre-qualify through RefiJet, a representative will explain your potential loan options to you along with any associated costs and fees. Let's dig a little deeper here. When we speak about RefiJet, it's important to understand that there are a few things you should consider before applying. First, the vehicle you want to refinance must be 10 years old or newer, okay? They don't want no old like vehicles that are just barely running or barely drivable, if you will. All right. And applying through RefiJet is free, but some loans offered through its lender network may include fees for title transfers or estate fees. And they do accept co-borrowers, similar to LendingClub. They do accept co-borrowers, no problem. So if you have, let's say, less than stellar credit, a co-borrower with strong credit may help increase your odds of loan approval. And loan terms vary depending on your credit, the vehicle you are refinancing, and the lender you choose. And it may be tempting for some people to choose a longer loan term to reduce your monthly payments, but you can end up paying more in interest in the long run. So think about your budget, think about your financial goals, and where you see yourself cash-wise in 1, 2, or 3 years. Okay. And RefiJet also offers the option of adding gap insurance and extended service contracts to your loan. This is another way for them to make money. So remember what I told you about gap, right? So you have to pay attention to those elements. So when we speak about gap, we speak about guaranteed asset protections. So those are waivers that you can use to protect your wallet if your refinanced car is ever totaled and the auto loan amount is higher than the car's value. Okay, this is just another type of insurance if you want to think about it that way. All right, and so at the end of the day, an auto refinance loan through RefiJet may be worth considering for you if this is your first auto refinance and you want someone to walk you through the loan process. As I said, they have stellar customer service along the way, and this is kind of cool. And a RefiJet refinance auto loan could also be worth considering if you want the ability to apply for pre-qualification and potentially get multiple loan offers in one place, especially if you have less than perfect credit. Okay, because pre-qualification through RefiJet results in a soft credit pull, not a hard one, not a hard pull, and so it doesn't affect your credit score at all. Okay, just remember that pre-qualification is not a guarantee that you'll be approved, though. That you'll be approved for the loan or that you will receive the estimated loan terms. Okay, so that's something you have to think about. All right, so folks, we are nearly at the end of today's conversation. So which car loan for refinancing and bad credit is best for you? It depends on a couple of things. It depends on your situation. It depends on the car you're currently driving. It depends on your where you live. If you live in Alaska or Hawaii, for example, there are certain lenders who will not cover your area, so you can't work with them. So let's just quickly look at the features of each lenders here. So Capital One, as I told you, Capital One, you will never know the final loan terms until you are at the dealership. You must buy a car from a participating dealer. So if you want to refinance, and in other words, they want you to choose actually a car from their inventory, their network. You can apply for pre-qualification and shop online for a car. Okay, and with RateGenius, you have a fast online application, a large lender network, and refinance and buyout. They only cover refinance and buyout only, right? This is kind of important to know. And one thing I really want to say also is that you have to pay attention to, for LendingClub, for example. LendingClub, there is no origination fee or prepayment penalty. The vehicle age and mileage, there are vehicle age and mileage restrictions, and you have an offer within minutes if you qualify. And for RefiJet, you have a range of refinance options. They do consider people with varying credit histories and personalized support throughout the refinance process. So when you think about Capital One, what do you think about? You have to think about a lender that allows you to refinance your car. They allow you to buy a new car. They allow you to buy a used car. Okay. And I just want to show you right now. As you can see, I think it will be a lot easier for me to make my point through this table that I'm showing you on the screen right now. We have a recap table here that shows the pros and cons of each player. Okay, the car loan provider for refinancing. So we have a Capital One auto finance. You see the pros here. So and the cons. You have the RateGenius. You can see here actually. The pros and cons here. We have LendingClub. You can see also there. And then you have RefiJet. So RefiJet considers people with a range of credit histories. They provide a personalized support through the process, and they do other stuff, right? You have the same thing with RateGenius, and you also have a LendingClub. So long story short, they all cover the whole 9 yards. Okay, they all cater to any type of credit history. All right. So our pick in today's conversation is RefiJet. Our score 9.5 over 10, and we have actually chosen RefiJet because of the personalized service. Because for us, whether you are experienced when it comes to auto loan refinancing or you're a newbie, having someone work with you throughout the process is pretty cool. And we love that personalized service. And so RefiJet 9.5 over 10. And then we go second with LendingClub 9 over 10. RateGenius 8.5 over 10. And Capital One Auto Finance 8.5 over 10. Let me just say this. Capital One Auto Finance is pretty cool when it comes to auto finance, but for refinancing, it's they have to still improve their business. All right. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.